Hello everyone, welcome to a new review. This is the new Octavia 4. This is the plug-in hybrid version, and we're gonna take it for a spin driving only on the battery, so to see what's the range on this car. So let's, without further ado, just jump inside and start driving. And now the car was charged to 100% by the dealer. Now I did drive it to this parking, so the range was 46 when I took the car. I did do 2 kilometers to get here. Now I'm gonna see, today temperature outside is 12 degrees at the moment Celsius, so we're gonna see if we can take the car for a spin and how much can we get from the battery. Put it to drive, and away we go. Now this has a small battery, so all the technical information is going to be inside the video description. So from top of my head, I think it was a 33 kilowatt hour battery. It's a small battery, and it has a range of declared something around 60 kilometers. So depending on the outside temperature, a battery will give you the full range, also depending on your driving style, or if it's colder outside, the range is gonna decrease. So the salesperson that's particularly driving this car told me that he usually gets, when the temperature outside is colder, around 40 kilometers, which computer is saying now was 46. As mentioned, now it's 44. So I'm just gonna drive around the city and see how much can we get, and summon my review. I'm gonna do a separate testing the combined hybrid mode to see how much fuel can we get. Now the salesperson told me that if you want to charge the battery with the fuel with a petrol engine, which is 1.4 TSI, that it is very not practical, because it's spending a lot of fuel. So it's spending at least 2 liters of petrol more when it's trying to recharge the battery with the petrol engine. So the idea behind this car is that you charge it at home if it's possible, or at work, so that you always have the charged battery. When you're in the city commute, you can drive electric or combine hybrid to lower your fuel consumption in the city or on the longer journeys. So it's not even a rush hour, but I guess it's a busy, so I'm sorry if it's a little bit boring. Should get that traffic light soon. So I'm gonna try adding some motorway if it's possible. Now let's talk about driving. Octavia, almost electric. So I was hoping Škoda would make a fully electric car that would be this type of C segment, particularly the Octavia, but they decided to follow the trends and first launch the SUV fully electric, the ENIAC, or whatever you pronounce it. So but getting the experience in the Superb or Octavia as a plug-in hybrid, driving only electric, I think this car is very interesting. Although testing other electric cars you can find on my channel, at least a few of them that I managed to test. One thing I'm missing when I'm driving electric is the one pedal drive, or the regenerative braking. On this car it's not so harsh, so if I come a little bit closer while waiting for the traffic light, you can see here data, and This is the consumption is 3.6 liters since start, I guess, or the electric on the bottom, how much power we're using. And this is since refueling 5 liters. That's what the salesperson is getting. So we got the green light. Now the acceleration is really good. It depends on your driving style. So I don't want to be too much aggressive, not to, you know, deplete the battery faster. I want to see how much range I can get with some sort of normal city driving. It's really interesting to drive Octavia electric though. I think it's more relaxing at this city commute speed. I'm only getting tire noise for the most part. We are on winter tires. So over here you can see the energy like range, and then if I click the energy flow, you can see here when I'm letting go of the accelerator or throttle, car is charging, and when I'm braking even more, so I usually take a daytime driving in another city just to avoid the traffic, but today that was not possible due to the limited time this car was available for a test, because this is a test car. So I don't know if you can see the energy flow. It's pretty nice graphics. So waiting here, I'm in a roundabout, but it has a different rule because it's regulated by the traffic light. So that's what I'm waiting, because I have a yield sign. So I like the acceleration of the electric motor. Now you can see when you're using power, and then when I let go and then I'm braking, you can see that middle flow, it's charging the main battery. Also in the digital speedometer you can see the power and the charge. I'm not using the boost because I believe the boost is when you're using the petrol engine. So range, I would say the range is according to the odometer, so it's pretty precise. Now I'm gonna be a little bit quiet and just keep driving. Before we do that, I just want to show you, so this is the driving mode. We're in eco or E mode, I guess electric. So we're not combining the hybrid, and we're in a normal. I'm gonna see if echo changes throttle or the accelerator response. I would say slightly yes, but in sport I can feel the regenerative braking is more harsh. So this is more like a classical electric car, and this in the normal, it's more gradual. And in eco, I feel like the car is coasting, so it's not braking with the electric motor, I guess. So I think if you see the individual here, chassis, steering, driving light assistance, air conditioned, so it's all on normal. So I don't see any Now we're at 84%. I got the car on almost 100, I believe. At least when I took a glance, it was around 90-ish. Yeah, definitely in echo. When I let go, the car is coasting. And I can feel it normal, it's slightly braking. But in sport, it starts immediately to brake with the recuperative braking. Now the car switched to a says sorry, E mode currently not available. So let me check here. Yeah, that's why. So apparently the car switched me to a hybrid, and it turned on the petrol engine. So not sure if I was because of the tampering with the driving modes. I'm gonna turn off the car since I'm on. So just want to see if I'm still okay. I'm back in the electric mode now. Probably by playing with the driving modes in the individual, I might have switched the car to a hybrid, so we don't want that. In this particular case, we're just gonna test the range of the battery. Put it to drive. Okay, we're gonna do a short drive on the highway just to hear the noise when we're driving fully electric. I can hear some side mirror noise, wind noise, and mostly tire noise. And I would say it might be a little bit windy outside. So it's very interesting to hear Octavia when driving only electric. Now our range has only dropped to 30 almost, but as soon as I lowered my speed, it increases, so it recalculates. So after just a short journey on the highway, kind of lost almost 10 kilometers of range. So it's probably be best to drive in hybrid mode when you're on the highway, and just keep the city commute on fully electric. So everyone, just to cancel this cruise control, so I have 16 kilometers of range, and let's see where that was, info. So if I go to the mode, 27% of battery. So the odometer currently is 4,224. So I'll type down how much I really passed. I want to correct myself. The battery inside is 13, not 33. Little mix-up in my head. But I want to sum up this. I know this video is going to be a little choppy. It's not the usual because there's just a lot of traffic inside the city. That's why I usually avoid it. Now, pros and cons of this car. Now, one con, when you're moving the steering wheel, you can hear some noise. I didn't hear that in other cars, so it might be just something that could be fixed in a warranty, but I did hear it. Probably caught my attention because I don't hear the engine sound. So, you know, but I guess in every electric car, if there's something wrong, there's like little crickets, let's call them like that, you would probably notice that as well. Besides that, everything is good. This car is excellent compared to the classic car. The noise level is the same on higher speeds. On lower speeds, there's no noise. It's really comfortable and relaxing to drive this car. So the electric range, I think the computer is pretty much accurate, and today it's now 15 degrees. I think I've managed to squeeze out of the battery probably around 40-ish kilometers. I'm gonna see. I really have to do the math. I'm not super good from top of my head. I didn't even remember when I started, but I have it on the video, so I'll type in or put in the screen what's the range I managed to pass. It's not ideal. It's hard to summon your feelings when you don't get to test the car before, so I have to do it on the go. But overall, I think for the purpose of this car, which is commuting on the battery, isn't really bad. So 60 kilometers, there was some information like 60, 65. I think it's 60 by WLTP, at least on the Škoda page. If you can get 60 kilometers in summer, that's great. Maybe when it's mild weather, maybe 50, 45. I think that's not bad, and it's really cold. The dealer told me, or the person that's driving this car, he gets barely 40 kilometers of range. So, you know, if that fits your commute, that's not bad, especially if you can charge at your work or at least at home. But I'm gonna do in a separate video the hybrid driving and see how much can you drop the fuel consumption. So as you can see, when I'm driving on the highway around 100 kilometers per hour, I'm fast, really quickly, you know, just depleting the juice, and it's really not meant for driving on a highway, the batteries. So you're gonna get the most of the range while driving in the city. Now, I usually do, in talking my night reviews, there's less traffic, so I can, you know, just drive, let's say about 70 or 60 miles per hour. So excuse me, kilometers per hour. Distracted by the signs, but you know, you can, if you drive 70, 60, 70, 80 kilometers and you reach that cruising speed, you don't use as much power. So that will be ideal, and you can reach or get the most of the electric range on this car. And if you're just going through the traffic, start and stop with the electric, if there's a lot of go and stop, that might not be also the ideal for the battery. driving only, because every time you accelerate fast, I think you use more power than when you brake and recuperate it back. So that's not ideal. So would I go plug-in hybrid? I don't know. Honestly, I think it's a good option for those who are not ready to go fully electric, but I think there's good electric cars if you really want to commit to transition and just go fully electric. But if you're really not, and you're worried about long journeys, you know, we're going to trips, to vacation, I think then this isn't a bad choice, because, you know, when you deplete your battery range, just turn on the petrol engine and it starts driving. So, but again, this car is probably better to drive in a hybrid mode rather than just you know, driving fully electric till you deplete the battery and then switching to the hybrid version. So for the long journeys, you should use the hybrid, and for the short journeys inside the city, if it's only commute and you know you can stop and charge, then I would only drive electric. So that's good for the, you know, for the city, less pollution, but then also good for you when you're long distance traveling. You can lower your consumption and, you know, just save the environment a little bit. And then in the future, when the electric cars become more affordable and the infrastructure builds, you can switch to fully electric. So again, good soundproof the car, the handling, so the driving modes, the sport has the best recuperation. I have a regret that you cannot change the recuperation by your choice, how much you want it. It depends on the driving mode, so it's more aggressive in the sport, and the normal it's slightly, and in eco it's just the car's coasting. So those are a little bit cons, and I would like to see the battery percentage and the energy flow and the range I have. You know, although you have it here in the cockpit, but still I like the infotainment to show it all in one place, that I don't have to touch all over the place and see my current stuff. So since start, I managed to drop it to 18 kilowatt hours, and the fuel consumption was like being cancelled, so it's like 0.8. Long term it's 14.6, 3.4 liters, and 4.3 liters since refueling, and 16.9. So you can interpret the data how you want it. So I've been driving, I've made a break, I've been driving maybe for an hour and a half electric, fully electric, and again now it's 4,235. Not sure how this turned out. So 4,235, excuse me, kilometers on the clock, 3 kilometers of the range. So I'm just gonna make it to the dealer, and I'm gonna do the math and tell you how much altogether have I passed driving fully electric. So thank you for watching